Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WPwatercooler's WPblab, episode number 148. We're closing in on 150, folks. Today, we're going to be talking about price anchoring and the WordPress oh my gosh, I can't even read. Price anchoring, the WordPress marketer secret tool. I want to let you know that that this particular show is brought to you by ServerPress, Kinsta, Beaver Builder, as well as Fat Dog Creatives. So thank you very much for all of those folks for helping us out. We really appreciate it. I do want to let you know that ServerPress Maker's desktop server, they make local WordPress development easy. You can find them over at serverpress.com. They make a bunch of really cool stuff over there. And if you haven't checked them out before, serverpress.com lets you kind of run that local WordPress development site on your local computer, which means you could be doing this in the airplane. So go check them out over at serverpress.com. All right, Bridget, let's introduce ourselves. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hey, y'all. I'm Bridget Willard. I specialize in marketing for WordPress products and services. I'm currently having trouble with my ear, but I can manage your social media so that you could get back to your billable hours, which is what you should be doing. So you can find out more at bridgetwillard.com.
Awesome, Bridget. I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over at Jason Tucker on Twitter. My website is jasontucker.blog, and I do this show as well as another show called WPwatercooler. We're going to be recording, man, it's an all-day event for me, Bridget, every Friday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific. We're going to be talking about auto updates in the next version of WordPress. So definitely go take a look at that. We're kind of, we're going to talk about something before it even comes out instead of when it comes out and we're all complaining about it. So we thought we'd pre-complain. So we're doing that. So we've been thoroughly rude here, Bridget. Nathan, tell us about yourself.
All right. Well, I'm Nathan Allotey. So I am a web designer and digital marketing strategist based in Houston, Texas. So been using WordPress as a part of my strategy for working with clients for 10 years now. So that amongst many other things. So been a lot of ups and downs, learning things along the way when you are freelancing or starting your own business. But I learned all those things, and I try to explain and teach everybody all those things through my podcast and articles that I write at nathanallotey.com. For someone wondering, nathanallotey.com. So that's where I'm at. That's what I have going on today.
Awesome. Well, it's good to have you on the show today. Bridget and I have been wanting to talk about pricing for quite a while now. I'm one of those people who started and somewhat failed at my ability to start up my own business, building people's websites. I was really great at the website building part, but I really, really sucked at the pricing part of it. And there's a lot of like self-worth issues, and there's a lot of time management issues and kind of managing all those things. And so we wanted to kind of discuss like, how do you, kind of navigate that, and how do you get to that point where you figured out how much things are and how you're going to have that price anchored. Can you kind of start us off with a little bit about that, and then we can kind of work around, the topic at hand here?
Yeah, sure. Awesome. Thanks for asking that question. So the thing that I would say, I guess I'll put it like this. A lot of times when you have someone who's looking to start a business or get into a new industry or learn a new skill, a lot of times they try to look for somebody who has business or domain expertise. What is the books I can read? Who is the person I need to talk to? Where's a mentor I need to find? All that is fine, and all that makes sense. I think the thing a lot of people forget is they do all those things because they're trying to avoid failure, or they're trying to avoid, something that may not be as positive outcome as they want. But ultimately, I will say it like this. You are going to fail here and there, and there's nothing wrong with failing. Failing being maybe you price too low, maybe you price too high and you scare somebody off, whatever it might be. You will fail. But the thing is, just learn from that failure and adapt. So a lot of times, at least to where I got to the pricing I got to today, it was because I priced something and I was like, is that too low? And then I talked to someone else and I priced again. And I'm like, oh, I doubled my price, but that's still too low, right? So I'm saying all that just to say their experience can be a great teacher, and there's no way to really avoid that. So if anyone's feeling like they don't have pricing down, that is an okay feeling, because I believe that's supposed to happen on the path to get to the price that's best for you and your client. So I do want to open the conversation with that to say, more than likely you all experience that, some type of dissatisfaction with pricing or a mistake. And I would just say embrace those things and learn from them.
So I have 3 different tiers. I'm the person who loves odd numbers, and also who believes psychologically you shouldn't have a lot of choices. You should not give customers choices. This is not a good thing. Apple does it. They know what they're doing. So you can have any car you want as long as it's black. That Henry Ford, you can have any color you want as long as it's black. So I did this like little analysis, Nathan, about like which, what performs well. And my friend Robert Nissenbaum messaged me. He goes, yeah, well, it looks like the one in the middle is the best performing. I'm like, yeah, because that's the one I want them to choose. So I have one that's a lot of work and a really high price, and one that I like best and actually performs the best, and that's where I want them to go. And I have a super, super low one. So like I'm trying to drive them all into the middle where I want them. So can you talk a little bit about that concept of what is price anchoring and the psychology behind that choice?
No, great. So yeah, I said a little bit about failure because I was talking about pretty much I was referring to myself. In the past, I priced different things. I never knew if it was right or wrong. It's just whether they said yes or no. It wasn't until I encountered different people who, some of them had the same skills that I had. Some of them did not know as much as I had, but they were charging way more than I was charging. But that being said, rather than worry about what should I charge, I think I found price anchoring, which is, of course, you're presenting people with different options of what to choose. So in a sense, it somewhat relieved the pressure off of me. What should I charge? I don't know what I should charge. What should it be? Rather than, agonize over the decision, why don't I present different options to the client and let them choose, right? And now the pressure is on them to choose. Of course, I'll guide them to the choice I think is best. But another amazing thing happens, which is now the client's trying to decide on what option I should go with, when in the past I gave them one number and it was yes or no. So a lot of the psychology as it relates to price anchoring has to deal with when clients come to you for whatever it is they're asking for. A lot of times they don't know how much it charges. They don't have no idea. The only thing or barometer they know of is what someone else charged. Maybe they call one of their friends. Hey, how much is a website? They Google and they find that like a website builder or something, oh, well, you can build your own website today for, $14 a month. Is that how much a website should cost? They don't know. But when you present options to them, at the very least, you're giving them anchors for their mind to know this is the range of what I should pay for a website. And then they're going to choose whatever they're comfortable with in that range. So again, a lot of the psychology is helping the client make a decision, because I've seen websites that cost $300 and I've seen websites that cost $30,000, right? Client has no idea what the differences are, but you can help them with that by presenting options. So I always present options now. I say if you're pricing, you should always present options. It doesn't have to be 3, but there should be at least 2 options. So always present options to help the client get a barometer of what to choose.
So would you say that anchoring establishes value?
Oh, for sure. Because again, they can choose the level of value. And the interesting thing is we're talking about price anchoring, but they use anchoring with everything. I think the most simple example, and I used to work at this company and I'm not endorsing them. I used to work at McDonald's, right? And McDonald's makes it very clear. They say you can buy a burger, fries, and a drink on its own, or just get an extra value meal and you'll save money. And people look at it, and a small scale example is you see the difference and you see, why would I get them separate? Let me just get it together. But you're not even thinking about the fact that you're going to buy something. So they got your money either way. So you're not thinking about leaving. You're just thinking about what should I choose, the value meal or well, the choice is apparent. And it's the same way with our pricing. The fact that present options and people can, in a sense, inherently see what the value is if you explain the differences between the choices you're offering. And people can see the value and feel smarter because they're like, I made the right choice. And you're like, either way, I got paid from the client. Right. But they see the value. So that's another thing. Make the value obvious, right? And they'll be able to discern which one is best for them.
Yeah, I love that. But then when you say I want the number 2 or the number 8, then like, would you like to be medium, large, or extra large?
Another angle.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I just want the burger. I don't want the fries. Yeah, but for 30 cents more, you could get the whole thing. Yeah, but I'm not going to eat it. Yeah, but it's only 30 cents. Like, how do web developers do the supersize since we're on McDonald's?
McDonald's. I haven't eaten there in a long time, by the way. But
dude, it's my comfort food. Anytime I'm sick or sad, I go and get the 2 cheeseburger meal. It's super salty. I feel better. It's because that was when I was a kid, you know. Oh, and because of Lent, the only thing good about Lent. Oh, sorry, that's a word. Whatever. I'm Protestant, so I'm not a Catholic. $2 fish fillet Fridays and McShamrock shakes.
Oh, wow, Bridget.
It makes me feel like a kid again. That's why I like it. Okay, but go ahead. Supersizing for WordPress developers.
Yeah, getting back to your question about supersizing, and I guess you could say adding value is a lot of times I like to recommend if someone has pricing at first, whatever the client asks for, deliver that. And that is the base, right? So if somebody says, I want a website, I definitely am going to blog. I definitely also want, a pricing page, and maybe they say 5 pages or whatever it might be. Pages don't really matter, right? But people still talk like that sometimes. But you make whatever they're asking for, and that is the basic or the first package. You say, I delivered everything you asked for. This is the price. Let's just say it's $3,000. Okay, $3,000. But then you go a little higher, right? And you say, well, I delivered that, but there's another package that you can get where it is $4,000. And not only will I set up the entire website, but this one includes backups. I will also optimize your site for SEO. I also will set up Google Analytics and goal structure for that, just so that you can see what's going on with your website at any given time. And I'll even make you a dashboard so that you can see. So the thought is you can get the base price, or for a little bit more, I can make your site a little bit more visible and allow you to see and analyze things a certain way. Or then you introduce third option, if there is 3, or I can do everything I said before. And you also want to kind of go for it, right, at this point. But you say, I can do everything that I mentioned before, but for $6,000, and the base price in this example was $3,000. But for $6,000, I can do everything that I mentioned. In addition to, and this is where you add whatever you feel is valuable or you're comfortable with doing. I can do everything with that, plus make a month of social media ads for you to get traffic to your website. I can do everything that I mentioned earlier, and I can also meet with you on a monthly basis to go over different improvements that you need to do and to engage your audience and make sure that you're reaching your goals. So again, it can be anything that you're comfortable doing, whether it be editing, backups, you revisiting the website every month and having, I guess I'll call it unlimited revisions. Not really, but you offer them unlimited revisions to say every month, if you want to improve it, I'll take your feedback and make changes. But you're presenting the options, which was 3,000, a little higher, 4,500, 6,000. And now they're trying to choose which one they want. More than likely, they'll say, oh, this is exactly what I asked for, the basic one, but I do want backups. Maybe I should get them. So maybe I should spend 4,500, right? And that's them thinking and choosing what they want. So to directly, just summarizing, answer your question again, how can someone, in a sense, supersize what they're offering? Start thinking about the services you offer as individual pieces of value rather than bundling everything together, and just spell it out, because these are things that you're able to do anyway, but just get credit for what you do.
I love that. So going back to Jason's original question, which was, I don't even know how to charge. I used to do job costing in construction. So I'm always like, y'all, your base is too damn low. so like, it's kind of a two-parter. I'm going to be one of those annoying people at WordCamp. I have a two-part question that's really a statement. Ken,
that never happens.
Right? Okay, so part one is, how do you establish your base, and or what is the role of a loss leader in price anchoring?
Good question. So how do you establish your base, and what is the role of a loss leader in price anchoring? At least in my case, the base price should cover, and I've done this because I've timed myself. Well, let me not even make any assumptions. Let me just start from scratch. So of course you need to make some type of profit. So however long it takes you to make the website, or maybe you're paying for hosting, maybe you're buying some plugins, maybe you're buying themes. No one does that, but maybe you're buying a theme or something like that. Of course, whatever it might be, cover all of your costs, right? But even if all of your costs are covered, you need some type of profit. I think you should be making at least 30% profit of whatever it is, at least. That's just a base. And on top of that, how long is it going to take you to make the website? Now, I have previously timed myself, so I know about how much I should make per hour. I think in the beginning, I just threw out a thing like, I want to make $25 an hour. Then I was like, I want to make $50 an hour. I want to make 75. It was random, but I started with the base. Now I know how much I want to make per hour. So if I get a job and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, this is probably going to take me maybe 20 hours total. Mm-hmm. And then it's just simple math. If it's 20 hours total multiplied by the hourly rate I'm comfortable with, am I able to quote that and feel comfortable getting paid with that? And does that cover the cost of setting things up? So at least in that case, that's how I'd say a decent base could be established, or at least that's how I did it, because I think one day I worked on something for a long time, and then I did that math for hours, and I was like, I'm not even getting $20 an hour. Let me just go get another job. Like, why am I doing WordPress for anyone? I'm not making that much money. So that's really was the reality that I came to say, I have to do at least this. I will admit, you have to do a good job estimating how long it might take. And maybe you'll undershoot it. But the goal is, that gives you an incentive to work faster if you can. And if not, fine. I didn't make $75 an hour. I made $60 an hour. Not bad. To your second question about a loss leader, I tend to use loss leaders. I used to only offer website packages. That was it. So everything was like, you must get a website. But now I'm more open because I understand people might need something leading up to a website, right? So that being said, I tend to offer strategy sessions to say, and it's just based on my time. I can do a strategy session with you. We can talk about your goals, everything that you want to do. And this is very time consuming, but hey, it's okay. They pay for it. So I know at least they're serious. We talk on a strategy session, and then I say, this is what I recommend you should do. You don't have to choose me. You can choose anyone, but this is what I recommend you do based on your budget and your goals. A lot of times they choose me because I already talked to them, right? But if it's not within their budget, they can go somewhere else, and I wish them well. So for me, that's a time investment, but so I'm losing because I could spend that time doing something else. But at least for me, it also can lead to business. So tend to think in the long term rather than short term when it comes to loss leaders.
And so what about the difference between pricing your projects based on a project basis versus an hourly basis? There has to be a time that an hourly basis is appropriate as well, right?
No, correct. I would agree. There's a quote. I apologize. I'm going to quote myself. Ha ha ha. That's like the ultimate you're not humble
Yes.
thing to do is quote yourself. But I think it's a strong statement that I've realization I've come to, which is simply pricing is not a decision, it's a strategy. And based upon what strategy you want to use, that determines what pricing structure you should use. There's some people who say project pricing for everything, other people who say, hourly for everything. And really, it just depends on the
Your
overall
favorite answer, Jason. It just depends.
Yeah, it just depends on sometimes the client, because they do want to see an hourly rate. So what are you going to say? I'm not going to come up with one. Like just put it on paper, whatever.
That's what I say. I say I don't sell my time unless you want to buy consulting. Then it's $175 an hour, and they go, "Oh, I'm not going to pay you that." Okay, well,
Yeah, exactly. Like when you get that granular, when you get that granular, it starts to be a little strange. Looking at peering into the hours, but I always say I tend to do project-based pricing, and hourly pricing is an internal thing that I have. So it's an internal thing that I know, but I'm not really telling the client that. Reason being so is the only barometer people have for hourly pricing is what they've been paid. So a lot of times when the hourly rate looks too high, people start to get nervous, or they start to think, I'm paying you too much. Even though doctors and lawyers get paid astronomical rates for hourly services, but no one really thinks about that because it's a doctor, it's a lawyer. They assume that's how it is. But in the case of web design, web development, maybe when you really break it down, your rate is $500 an hour, $300 an hour. That makes people nervous. Even $100 an hour, they're like $100 an hour.
No, seriously.
Yeah, they get nervous. So I tend to do project-based pricing because it doesn't matter. If there's some hiccup, I'll just take a longer time to do it because I want to make sure I deliver. But if you do hourly, sometimes you draw unwanted attention to how you're using your time. So one's not better than the other, but me personally, I do project-based pricing, and hourly is just something internal I keep to myself. And because I don't want people asking questions about why something took this long or was this short, because that really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or why you're driving a Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly. And that the hourly based pricing sometimes is known as time and materials. And so when you're having to do that type of thing, that's when it becomes more of a we've kind of veered off of what you wanted me to do, like this package deal, and now you want me to build you Facebook. So it's going to cost me it's going to take me some time to kind of build you Facebook, or build you YouTube, or build you a whole Twitter, like, that sort of thing. Like there's a lot of unknowns in that. And that was my problem with when I was trying to price these things out, is it's like, you're asking me to do something that doesn't exist, and I have to figure out how to make it exist. And there's going to be some discovery that needs to happen there. There's going to take some time for me to actually build some prototypes of it. And then once I built those prototypes, we're going to have to, figure out what color paint we're going to put on it. And then we're going to, release this thing. So, when it comes to that part of it, how are you having that conversation with the client saying, hey, this is a bit out of scope of what my projects are, these 3 different tiers, and the thing that you're asking for is going to be a little more than that. Have you ever had to navigate that? And if so, what did you do to navigate it?
I failed in every area, so I'm pretty well versed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's happened. Scope creep, right? Which is, you agree on something, and then someone introduces, what about this? What about this? What about that? What about this? And then it just grows, and you're like, this is not enough money for what you're asking for. If you want me to maybe edit a little thing on a page versus rebuild Facebook, which something like that really happened to me. Someone asked me to build a Facebook clone. And I'm not even gonna get into that because I get mad thinking about it. They didn't pay enough, regardless. But yeah. So that being said, whenever that happens, at least for me, the thing that I really try to get people to understand is, and I'll use an example. Someone came to me and said, I want a website like this. And it was a website that was already built. And I said, okay. And they wanted all the bells and whistles that website had. It had like video and other things. And if they automatically start streaming, it automatically streams on a certain page and all this other stuff. I was like, okay. So what I did was I actually found out the agency and the company who built that site. I just said, I was curious, how much would it cost to make a website like this? And I pointed to what they made and said, oh, well, so a website like that starts at this price, so on and so forth. Okay. I went back to the client and said, okay, I can build you a website like that. However, just so that you know, I contacted the company who made it. It cost this much to make. Let's just say $20,000. It cost $20,000 to make. Do you have $20,000? Of course, they say, no, I don't. Right. So then I come back and say, all right, I think and believe I can do something like this for you for $8,000. Oh, yeah, like 8,000. Okay, I think that can work. And once again, what I just did is I used price anchoring. I just used another agency to do it.
Yeah.
But right. So it's still anchoring. But coming back to what you said about how do you watch scope creep or whatever, doing that also shows if you want all these things, it's really going to be more and more and more and higher and higher and higher. It's going up to $20,000 because that's all the bells and whistles of what this person has, and that's how much it costs. Yeah. So they tend to say, well, what do I get for 8,000? I spell it out, and they tend to accept it. The only thing that I have to worry about is revisions, but I have something called revision cycles, which is you can make any changes you want, but only for 2 rounds. Not because I want your money, but because you need to make a decision and launch.
Right.
I don't mind making edits all day, but eventually that's going to cost you more money. So just use your edits wisely. So yeah, that kind of helps when I find something that's their ideal, scope out their ideal, then come back and say, do you want all of that? Because it's $20,000. And then they tend to be more appreciative of the fact that I've done something similar for only 8.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how I've handled that in the past. I don't know if you all, I'm curious to hear from you all as well, just if you've done that any differently.
Well, I mean, I knew when I was working in an advertising agency what it cost, what we charged the client to do my Twitter Pro package. And then I went lower than that. I mean, because before when I originally started doing Twitter on the side, I was charging $250 for that. Now it's like just under $1,200, but I think I'm going to raise my prices. I mean, I just watched a video by Chris Do. If you don't want to raise your prices, don't watch Chris Do, because I swear to God, I'm like, oh man. And I know what I'm worth, and I'm like, I think my prices are still too low. And he's like, yeah, they are. Like he'll talk to you guys on Twitter, but
I like Chris though.
I know. I just wrote a note talking to you. Create a bundle, raise my a la carte prices. So anybody who's watched this, my prices are going up today. But the thing is, it's so true, because it goes back to originally what Jason was saying. It's like, I don't know what I'm worth. So, and I remembered that you spoke to that at WordCamp Los Angeles when I saw your talk. Like, go ask people what their sites are, do some recon, act like you're a spy and you're a potential customer, right? And then go ask them how much it costs. So then you're like, what? That was just Beaver Builder, because we, our developers, and even me, I could go into Chrome Inspect and see the console, So, and open source means you get to look at the code. So like, that is a really good tip. Like, that's almost a good mental health tip, Nathan. If you're feeling like your work isn't valuable, go talk to other agencies, because agencies charge tons of money and everybody just pays it, like they doctors.
They do.
It's craziness. I'm like, y'all, what? There was this tweet that got promoted that was written in the third person, and I wrote the guy back. I'm like, I want to know what agency you overpaid for this ad, because Twitter's supposed to be the first person.
Yeah, like a quick thing that Bridget is referencing is when I really didn't know what to charge, I started looking into how much are my websites worth, rather than how much does a website cost. So I contacted multiple agencies. One was in Dallas, one was in Atlanta, another one was in, I think, Seattle, then one was in California. And so they didn't see me as competition. So I asked them, how much would you charge for a website like this? And that was a website I built. I just didn't tell them I built it. And I got back different numbers from them, right? Somebody said, oh, on that, something like that. I think originally, this is a while ago, but originally I think I charged $1,000 for it. And then someone said, oh, something like that, minimum 5,000 for like basic. And if you want like a blog and other things, it gets higher. And that was just a small studio. And then the agency came back and said, oh, minimum 10,000, but that includes hosting, but minimum 10,000. And it felt good because they're commenting on something I built. So I said, oh, I'm charging way too low. I need to charge 10 times more than what I'm charging. Now I need to find the clients willing to pay that, but I need to charge more. And getting, information from an outside source just allowed me to see I am valuable. I do have something to offer that could be worth this, that, and a third. We do that when we appraise houses, right? You build a house, you do some upgrades, and then you say, how much is this worth? And then they run and say, well, hold on, let's go see what the other house, what does that have to do with anything? But they go and see what the other houses sold for and say, your house is worth about this, right? And it's a similar thing that we can do as a fellow, WordPress designers and developers and social media, whatever it might be. You can find someone that values your work higher than what you do. So definitely understand and recognize you are valuable.
And with that, I want to tell you about something that I love real quick. And let's switch this up. It's going to be weird for a second. I'm sorry, but at least now it's not on top of your face.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I want to tell you a little bit about Kinsta. If you're tired of unreliable, slow web hosting, check out Kinsta.com, who makes managed WordPress hosting to the next level. Powered by Google Cloud, all their plans include PHP 7.4, SSH access for developers, one-click staging area, 20 global data centers, free SSL, free CDN, 24/7 expert support who will also migrate your website free of charge. Check them out over at Kinsta.com and take a tour of their new dashboard, which actually looks really nice, over at demo.kinsta.com. Kinsta, thank you very much for helping us out. We really appreciate it. Look at that. We even got to see our faces and all that. That was really weird.
Yeah, so I put on makeup, Jason.
See,
I almost didn't. I was like, this is a girl thing. And I thought, oh, I don't need to wear makeup because I haven't been wearing makeup because I've been feeling good about myself and
good.
I don't need it and everything like that. And people are telling me, what are you talking about? You're naturally beautiful. But I have that ruddy complexion that Irish people have, which is, I always go, oh, my face looks red. Guess what? It is red. So red is my skin tone. They don't have a red emoji, but I'm always red. And so anyway, but then I thought, no, because I'm in marketing. And if I don't put my face on and blow out my hair, then everybody's going to say, how is she in marketing? She doesn't even market herself very good.
No, that's funny. I felt like a political news correspondent when you put our pictures next together.
Right?
Well, the radical
was really weird.
Yeah, the radical left doesn't understand what they're doing.
All we're missing is the headlines going from the bottom. Wouldn't that be rad, Jason? If we had, instead of the news headlines that CNN has, having tweets that mention WordPress and the hashtag just streaming across the bottom.
I can do anything. Okay.
Hey, there it goes. Hey, that's funny.
Whoa!
Awesome.
Dude,
I can do anything.
Wow. Okay. So I don't know what's the choices. See, this is what I'm talking about. So this is the thing, and that's why I put my pricing on my website, because I view it as educational. So you're telling people, no, if you hire a $15 an hour social media manager, you're going to get $15 an hour mistakes. So this is what it costs. And you should never be paying anybody by the way, you should never pay by the hour for social media because it's not an hourly job. That's to everybody. Just FYI, if you're paying by an hour, it's not, it's always on. Like, the world doesn't stop when that person's whistle goes off like the Flintstones. So as far as price anchoring goes and working with kind of your fellow agencies, do you ever, oh man, this is a weird question. Okay, in roofing, back when I was in construction, because it's so similar, website building and construction is so similar. Back when I was in roofing, there were 3 people that were in cahoots. And there would be a project up to bid from this one giant client that all 3 worked for. And they would like have coffee or like call each other on the phone and go, are you busy? Yeah, I'm busy. But you have to have 3 bids because it's their mandate as property managers to get 3 bids. So they'll go, I don't have time for that crap. And so they bid it really high. And then the one who maybe doesn't want it, bids it kind of lower, and they're like, nah, Tony, you can have it. And so he bids it right. Do you ever conspire with kind of like making sure other people in your area are raising, like the homeowners in a community will be like, that's the reason why HOAs are the way they are. Like your house looks like it belongs in a Halloween movie and you're lowering our property values. Is there ever a situation where you're like, you see somebody on Craigslist in your area, you're like, listen, bro, you're lowering our property values. We need to have a conversation. Get those up.
I've never spoken to anyone about that specifically. I do, with a lot of the content that I put out and conversations I have, questions I answer, I do tend to lean towards you should probably charge more. You should probably charge more, just because I want people to recognize their value. So that's the motivation behind a lot of the content that I've done. I've never reached out to someone and said, I think you should charge more, because they have their own reasons for charging what they charge. But I always go back and tell the client, and I hate to say this, but you get what you pay for.
Right.
Maybe you'll find a diamond in the rough where you paid a low fee and they did stellar work and they're a unicorn. Great. But a lot of times that is not the case and people come back with regret. So I say you get what you pay for. So a lot of times I say this is the price. If you use a strategy like value-based pricing, which is you finding out how much something is worth to them, and then your price is some fraction of what they will bring in. A lot of times they follow logic and say, why wouldn't I choose this? So even if you do have to submit bids, if you ask questions to say, actually, I'd like to do a strategy session to find out how much this would really cost. And then you find out from them, right, how much it really costs. And you're like, oh, they have 80,000 to spend. Okay, my bid is 40. It's like, why? And you can get a potential return of fill in the blank. It's like, why wouldn't you choose that? They can get other bids from other people, but at that point, it's just a formality because they're just doing it just to do it. And maybe they'll get a bid for 60. Maybe they'll get a bid for 20. But now they're looking at the person funny because they're like, why are they bidding 20 when they didn't find out as much as Nathan found out?
Right.
Nathan knows, and he gave us 40. 20, they don't even know anything. Are they even going to be able to do this? And these are questions I've heard in a real boardroom that people say, right? And comments people make. So if you can find some type of insight, like you said, there's nothing wrong with that. Then you just bid the appropriate thing. But if you really don't know, I just put out a price and stand by it. If they don't choose it, I say, you get what you pay for. But I'd rather help you choose the best price. I have told clients sometimes, what are they charging? Let me look. Actually, that's a good deal. Why don't you go with them? And then they really start explaining why they didn't go with them. It's like, oh, that's a great deal. Like, go with them. Matter of fact, let me know how it goes. I'll hire them. I'll outsource them. But a lot of times they just use it to try to make me come down on my price, not necessarily because they really care. So I'm just like, hey, if they do a great job, tell me, I'll hire them. But a lot of times they just throw that out there to try to get me to negotiate. But yeah, I stand by my price. I've been burned too many times. I stand by my price.
Yeah.
Bridget, we've done one of those United Nations type of situations where we in our heyday we had this meetup that just everyone would love to come to this meetup, and we all would sit there and just like talk about all the different things that were going on in our businesses and all of that. And it became this like big core group of I'd say about 20, 30 people that would just show up to this thing all the time, on top of all the other people that would show up as well. And one time we did a beach, kind of a beach picnic thing, and we had everybody show up at the beach picnic. I called it the uncompany picnic because we all didn't work for the same company, but we wanted to have a company picnic. So feel free to steal that if anybody wants to do that. But it was pretty awesome because what we did is we all sat down, we're all eating hot dogs, hamburgers, doing all that stuff. And somebody goes, "Hey, how much do you charge per hour?" And we all did the, I'll show you mine if you show me yours kind of thing. We just kind of all just said like, "How much are you charging?" And so we all started talking about that. And one guy, brand new to the group, comes in and goes, "Well, most of my websites are like, I charge maybe like $300 for the website." And the whole place was like, "Whoa, $300 for a website? Are you kidding me? Like, you're making like $4 an hour." And they just everyone just started breaking it down. And we got that guy to finally go like, "You know what? I am going to charge $100 an hour for building this site. My base rate is going to be $1,200 for a website, or $1,500 for a website, or whatever." And that kind of empowered everyone to go like, I know how much everyone else is charging, and I didn't have to go hunt around and ask people stuff because we all just kind of sat there and said it. And to top that off, we were also able to say, and if your rate's too low, you need to bring your rate up. So that way, when we're being competitive, because we are all competitors, anybody who shows up to these meetups are all essentially competitors. At least you have a rough idea of what everyone else is charging. So you're not the guy who's so low or the girl that's so low that they're going to go, "Well, but you're not worth it because you're too low." Like what am I going to get for $100 on that website? Is it just going to be a Wix website that they're just going to drag and drop a couple things and they're done? Is it going to be some Weebly site where they don't even change the domain name? Or is it going to be like an actual like purpose built just for you website that isn't just a bunch of templates thrown together to kind of make that theme?
But even if it is the templates, it goes back to that saying we've all heard where, "Oh yeah, it cost me da 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 da," and it cost me 10 years to know where to hit it with the hammer.
Right. Like, yeah. You're paying for experience. Yeah.
And I mean, I recently had a very similar experience, and I'm like, okay, so
do you know how many years I've been doing this?
I know, right? Just in construction, we call those suicide bids. And we do the same thing. We say the same thing as Nathan, you said. We're like, okay, go for it. I hope they have everything covered in their scope of work, and they don't go out of business in the middle of your project.
Oh wait, you wanted plumbing? Oh, you didn't talk about plumbing. Well, that would have been the 30 grand right there.
No, seriously, actually, that's not out of the norm, because a lot of times the plans don't, especially because plant is like scoping out a website, right? Okay, so first you talk about the design, then what about the function? And a lot of times you get the building plans, but you don't get mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Let alone the parking lot in Irvine. You have to have a parking lot plan. You have to do striping. You have to do the ratio of parking spaces per square foot. In commercial, I'm talking about commercial because that's where
but we have those equivalents as well, which is GDPR and whether or not your website's accessible or not. Like those things are your striping and your all those other pieces.
Exactly. And in construction in California, you have to spend, there's a valuation threshold. So if your project is over a certain amount that goes up every year, last time I checked, it was 137,000, but that was 4-year-old information. And then until that threshold, 20% of your whole budget had to go to ADA compliance, which goes from the parking lot inside. And bathrooms are heavily very small condensed spaces, right?
WordPress, are you hearing this? 20% of your 20%. Budget has to be ADA.
I mean, that's what it is for building. So don't be surprised if that's how it is for building a website. Not only that, but like bathrooms have so many codes. So the thing is, for WordPress, that would be like e-commerce, right? So, I just want to sell stuff. No. This is a whole nother animal. This is like adding extra plumbing, you're adding another bathroom. Every single time you have a product, it's like another bathroom where there's all this stuff condensed in one item, right? There's a lot that goes into selling but it's only one thing. Yeah, it's only one bathroom that has a sink, a toilet, waste, hot water, cold water, insulation over the pipes. The sink has to be only 34 inches. The mirror has to be this. There needs to be a 16-inch turnaround. This crap that's in my brain that should never be there, but I typed all this stuff, right? So the thing is that when we think about something physical, that makes sense to us. When we think about the digital world, we don't believe that. But this tool or tip of the week time. This week's tool or tip of the week is brought to you by Fat Dog Creatives. If you're a service-based business serious about growth, Rhonda Nagard is your rebranding and web design thinker, a strategic design specialist. Find out more at fatdogcreatives.com, fatdogcreatives.com. So my tool or tip of the week is voice memos on the App Store. Okay. It's called Voice Memos. It's like it's really got a great name. Voice memo. This is why I wanted it. So I was learning my German on Duolingo, and when you're doing the Duolingo, as you're learning whatever language on Duolingo, they will ask you to pronunciate it. When I say that on purpose, pronounce the things, right? So then I'm like, oh, I'm so proud I can pronounce this. I mean, I can like show words on Twitter or whatever, but I can't show I can't show the graphic and then have voice on it. So then I'm like, what would Jason Tucker do? He does everything on his phone. And I know that I use headliner.app. I love headliner.app so much, which actually Rhonda recommended to me. So anyways, so I took a screenshot of the German phrase and I wanted to put this on my Instagram. So then I just go to voice memos on the, the voice recorder the native app on iPhone. Well, I don't know what that output is. It doesn't work with Headliner app. It has to be .wav or MP3. And I'm like, well, that's lame. Why is it the native app on an Apple iPhone and MP3? Like, let's think about this for a minute. Apple started with the what? iPod, which competed with the MP3s. But the native voice recorder is an MP3. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'll open GarageBand. You know what? It was driving me nuts. I used to use GarageBand. I have demos on SoundCloud. I recorded in GarageBand. Why is this so hard? And so then I went through several different iterations of finding voice memos that would let me share the file to myself. Okay? This is key because this is where they nickel and dime you people. Because, you can record it. You just can't export the file. Well, that's great. That's like having a computer without a printer. This makes no sense. I mean, we don't use printers that much anymore, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do.
A pen without paper. Okay. You need them together. So then I finally found this free one, and it's so cute because it looks like a little old, the tape recorders that we had when we were kids, and or like in cop shows. Okay, we're going to record this, And so anyway, it's really easy, and you could share it to your files. And if you share it to your files and you're using iCloud, that could be on your desktop computer. And anyway, so once I found the right tool, it took me 5 minutes. Finding the right tool was taking me an hour to say, I don't even remember what I said. Okay. I'll find it and put it in the show notes just because it's hilarious. Okay. My pronunciation is terrible. German is really, really hard. But if you want to record voice memos so you can share things on Instagram, but not share your face. Some people are more shy and they don't want to put on makeup. So they just want to share words that are audio. Use voice memos on the App Store.
That's
Good.
cool.
Good.
It's good. Da. Or no, it's ya. Da is Serbian and Russian. Sorry, I'm messing everything up. Nathan, do you have a tool or tip you could share with us? And I'm going to stop talking.
I do. Tool or tip, drum roll. No one can hear it but me. All right. So the tool or tip is an actual book. The book is called The Win Without Pitching Manifesto. Not that long of a book. That's why it's referred to as a manifesto. It was written by Blair Enns. Blair Enns worked at an agency for years, and his main thing was putting together a pitch to win the client work. But he was frustrated because many years and many long nights and many hours he would invest 12 hours, 18 hours, multiple days creating, right? There you go. Creating an actual pitch, but only to pitch it to a client and then maybe not land the business. So then the question is, why did I just do all this work? Right. So the Win Without Pitching Manifesto is a book. Definitely talks about pricing for helping you to be comfortable in talking about pricing. But the biggest thing it really tries to help you, I guess, formulate is how can you have a conversation with a client, be comfortable talking about pricing, and really start doing some of the bidding or anchoring and other things in your mind while you're speaking with them. That way, when you send them the actual written down bid or paperwork, it's something that you've already discussed, right? A lot of times you talk with a client, you say, let me go do some work. And then you come back and you say, ta-da, here is the bid. And sometimes they look at it and get sticker shock, or other times they like, is this really what it is? I have questions. So the book really helps you in just formulating, talk to the client. These are some things you shouldn't budge on. Get them to agree on a price range at the least, and then send them, this is what we talked about in your bid. So Win Without Pitching Manifesto by Blair Enns. I like it. There's a website that you can read blog articles if you don't know. There's a book on Audible that is fairly inexpensive you can get, and just listen to it if you don't want to read it. But Win Without Pitching Manifesto. I've read that multiple times. It's a good, very good book.
That's cool.
Love it.
Thank you for that. Yeah. I like book recommendations, especially if they're on Audible, because we live in the future now, and we're royalty, so we could just have someone read it to you. So it works out pretty nice for that's the way I feel about it, is being able to just kind of listen to a book. So yeah, go take a look at that one. I want to tell you about mine. Let me pull it up here real quick. So the let's see. So the one that I've been kind of looking at is I've been struggling a lot with having so many of these tabs open on my computer and so many of these different windows and everything. And I've been kind of playing around with a couple different things to be able to make my normal, use of my browser, easy and simple. And this one in particular, which is called Momentum, is kind of a start page for your browser. And I've been using this for, quite a few years now. And a friend of mine, Brandon Dove, recommended it. And he didn't recommend it so much as he showed it on his screen. And I go, wait, what's that? That's cool. How does that work? And so the way that this thing's kind of structured is in the upper left-hand side, you have these links. And if you click on one of them, like I have one for WPwatercooler, you can click on it and load that up. I have the current temperature of the city that I'm in, which is Whittier. Down the bottom on the right, I have a little to-do list, which can tie into a whole bunch of different to-do list systems if you're using something. It'll tell you based on what time of day you start your day and end your day, what percentage of your day you are throughout your day. So you're not looking at a time, but rather you're looking at a percentage, which I really like.
18%.
I know, right? I got a long day today. It asks me what my focus is. It gives a quote down on the very bottom. And then on the far bottom left-hand side, it gives you the, what the image is that you're actually looking at. And so what I like about this thing is every time I load up a new web browser, this shows up. And sometimes the background's different. So that's kind of nice. Something's changed a little bit. It has that simplicity that Google has, where it's just like, just the basics, just the bare minimum of the stuff that you need on here. But like with most things, if you throw some money at it, they'll start adding you some additional features. So it'll sync up with different task managers. You can kind of change how those quotes as well as the backgrounds work. You can personalize the experience of it and add a couple different little widgets on there and such. It kind of keeps everything up to date. So you can kind of look at these things and see what's going on, and making sure that, throughout your day, you're going to be able to kind of make things happen. With that part where it asks you what's your focus, it'll keep telling you like, hey, you should maybe think about this again. This was your focus. Let's kind of add to that. It's made for like mantras or any of those sorts of things. You can kind of tie all those together. And this is the pro package for it, which ends up costing about $40 for the year, but it works on all of your $40 for the whole year. And that's it. So it's not bad. It's not bad for something that's your start page of, what's there. I mean, come on, Tim Ferriss uses it.
Oh, so they can only work 4 hours a week.
Right, exactly. But I really like this just because of the simple fact that when you go and look at a new tab, haven't done anything yet, here's what this looks like. What's my main focus today? Podcasting. Okay, podcasting. That's your focus for today. As you start going through your day, it's going to remind you, hey, podcasting was your focus for the day. Hey, are you done with that show that you're doing? Yep, I'm done with WPblab. That's it. So nice and easy. It's a clean and simple way of being able to kind of interact with your browser. And I like it. I have it on all of my different instances of Google Chrome and Firefox and all, Safari, all the places that I do this stuff. I have it installed on all of them. So no matter what, I open it up, it knows who I am, and it just kind of goes from there.
I think I need that. Yeah,
it's fun. It's called Momentum, and it's just an add-on. If you go over to the website is momentum-.com. Okay. It takes you to what it looks like. And it's like, add it to your browser, and you click add, and you're good to go. And it works on Chrome, Firefox, and Edge.
Oh,
nice.
So if you're a Windows person, if you're a Mac person, or if you use Firefox. Just joking. There's a lot of people that use Firefox. But yeah, go take a look at that. Momentum. It's really nice, and I don't know. For me, it's worked out good. I've tried other ones that are out there that do this similar sort of thing. They just don't have the same type of features that this one does, and there's always something new on there that you can play around with.
So, do you have one last pearl of wisdom you'd like to throw before our audience, Nathan?
Pearl of wisdom. I've already said this in different ways, but I'll say it again. I would say, remember that you are valuable. Remember that you are valuable. The reason I'm saying that is I think you as an individual recognizing how much value you have or can bring to a project will definitely determine your attitude, your actions, and how you perceive how much you should be paid when working on a particular project. So you need to recognize that you do have value, whether that's you're a hard worker or whether you're someone who's willing to learn anything that you need to learn to get the job done, whether that is you have invested, and I've done this as an exercise, whether you write down literally everything that you've learned, whether it be from, elementary, high school, college, in my case, grad school, and then all of the online courses I took, all of the studying I've done, all of the courses I've took on lynda.com or whatever other platform. A lot of learning went into where I am today and to help develop the services I have to offer. There's value in that. And if somebody's working with me, they're getting all of that value. So again, remember, I would say you are valuable, and even recognize that you need to communicate that value. You're not interchangeable for anyone else. Yes, someone else could maybe get the project done, but in terms of who you are, you're unique and you're irreplaceable in a sense. So you're valuable.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Nathan, for coming and hanging out with us and talking about price anchoring. And I don't know, you changed a lot for me. It makes me want to go back to doing freelancing again.
Yeah, dip your toe in the water every now and then. See what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, thank you very much for coming and hanging out with us. I want to let you know that you can go over to WPwatercooler.com where you can learn how to subscribe to this and all the other shows that we have going on over there. If you want to come and hang out with us in an hour, we're going to be going and doing WPblab. Feel free to go take a look at that. Also, if you're or WPblab, WPwatercooler. Hey, look, I got a lot of things to think about. All right, Bridget. But yeah, come and take a look at WPwatercooler, which happens at 11 o'clock. We'd appreciate that. And lastly, if you enjoy this, any of this stuff that we have going on, we have a newsletter. You can go take a look at that. Go over to WPwatercooler.com/subscribe, where you can learn how to subscribe to this and all the other stuff that we have going on.
And check out Nathan Allotey, not Allotey, like I used to say, at nathanallotey.com.
Yeah,
Looks
thank
like
you.
a Lottie, but it's not. It's good pricing.
Yeah, check me out. A lot of episodes on pricing and comments on price anchoring. Nathan Allotey. If that's too difficult for you to spell, just search for Freelance Jumpstart, because that's the name of my podcast, Freelance Jumpstart, and then you'll find me.
Awesome. Good to have you. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks.